Hi there, Steve Patton with HCM Property Management. Today we wanted to talk a little bit about the pros and cons of doing a full repaint of your rental property as opposed to just trying to get away with doing touch-up paint. Here's a few things to consider. The first thing you might expect with a freshly painted home is more rental applications. We have found when a potential tenant walks into a property and it's been freshly painted, it's been professionally cleaned, the carpets are cleaned, it looks good, it smells good, tenants get an emotional reaction to it. So we have a much higher application volume with full paint job houses as opposed to those where there's kind of a rough patch work that doesn't look great. We tend to get much fewer rental applications. The next thing is properties tend to lease more quickly when there's a full paint job. Much like in the prior example, they get an emotional reaction to it. They don't want that property to go to somebody else, so they tend to apply faster, thereby reducing the vacancy period that your property has on the market and improving your overall return on investment. Next is higher rental rates. When you have multiple properties in a neighborhood competing against each other, and one of those properties has been freshly painted, professionally cleaned, then we find that you can generally get a higher rental rate than properties that don't show as good a condition. The last item is better tenants. Your freshly painted and freshly cleaned rental property shows pride of ownership. It shows that you care about that property and you care that your tenants have a great place to live. And we generally find that tenants that lease these type of properties reciprocate likewise and take better care of your overall property. Now, I know doing a full paint job can be expensive, and I'm not suggesting that every house needs a full paint job in between tenants, but there are a few things that you can do to put your property in better overall condition. For instance, if your last tenants were great, took good care of the property, and the only paint damage they had were some small nail holes or pinholes where they hung up some photos, it's perfectly acceptable to get a fine tip paintbrush and get the matching color paint that hopefully you have in your garage, and you can lightly touch that up. In other cases where you may have some excessive paint damage on one particular wall or in one particular room, consider doing a full wall paint or a full room paint as opposed to just trying to patch it up. Because if you've got a excessive amount or larger damage to the paint and you try to touch it up, it just never matches. Paint fades, the stuff you have in the garage doesn't quite match anymore. It just ends up looking very bad. One last thing I wanted to mention is the quality and type of paint you select can have a dramatic impact on the frequency of your need to repaint your property. Inexpensive flat paints are the least stain resistant and don't fare well in high traffic areas, whereas eggshell and satins tend to perform much better. You can clean them frequently without really damaging the sheen of the product. Whichever way you go on painting, I highly suggest that you select neutral paint tones. Color palettes are a very specific taste, and we want the paint to be able to attract to the widest variety of potential renters. Thanks again for watching. If you have any questions, feel free to reach out to HCM Property Management. We're happy to help wherever we can. Have a great day.